hearsay or tradition. We don't build our faith on imagination. Every word tested, every line rehearsed. We go back to the truth, chapter and verse. If it's real, let it stand in the light. If it's true, it will hold up right. Chapter and verse. Read it, believe it, put it to the test. Chapter and verse. Prove all things, keep only what's best. No, not by feelings, not by the crowd, not by the voices that are shouting loud. Line on line, precept first, every truth confirmed. Chapter and verse. If it's spoken in His name, let the word back up the claim. Hey. Chapter and verse. Read it, believe it, put it to the test. Chapter and verse. Prove all things, keep only what's best. Line it up with the word. Search the scriptures, test every spirit. Truth stands written. Chapter and verse. Chapter and verse. Anchor your faith, don't guess, don't assume. Chapter and verse. If it's from God, the word proves true. Chapter and verse. Chapter and verse. Chapter and verse. We don't lean on hearsay or tradition. We don't build our faith on imagination. Every word tested, every line rehearsed. We go back to the truth, chapter and verse. If it's real, let it stand in the light. If it's true, it will hold up right. Chapter and verse. Read it, believe it, put it to the test. Chapter and verse. Prove all things, keep only what's best. Not by feelings, not by the crowd, not by the voices that are shouting loud. Line on line, precept first, every truth confirmed. Chapter and verse. Line it up with the word. Search the scriptures, test every spirit. Truth stands written. Chapter scriptures, test every spirit. Truth stands written. Chapter and verse. Chapter and verse. Anchor your faith, don't guess, don't assume. Chapter and verse. If it's from God, the word proves true. Chapter and verse. Chapter and verse. Chapter and verse. We don't lean on hearsay or tradition. We don't build our faith on imagination. Every word tested, every line rehearsed. We go back to the truth, chapter and verse. If it's real, let it stand in the light. If it's true, it will hold up right. Chapter and verse. Read it, believe it, put it to the test. Chapter and verse. Prove all things, keep only what's best. Not by feelings, not by the crowd, not by the voices that are shouting loud. Line on line, precept first, every truth confirmed. Chapter and verse. Line it up with the word. Search Search the scriptures, test every spirit. Truth stands written chapter. Chapter and verse. If it's from God, the word proves true. Chapter and verse. Chapter and verse. Chapter and verse.
Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. This is Pastor Errol Williams here from the local church in Wembley, Church of God of Prophecy. It's such an honor, once again, a privilege to be here with you, to share with you on a topic that is really close to my heart, and that is inspired leaders. Well, it's been a great day today, a beautiful day actually. The weather here in the United Kingdom, where I am at least, absolutely phenomenal. I've spent all day inside, so I don't know what it feels like outside, but most certainly I am enjoying it inside as much as I can. Well, it's today is Tuesday, the last day in June, 30th of June. So glad to be here with you tonight to look at a subject, as I mentioned before, that's so close to my heart. So thanks to every one of you for joining with me tonight. Really do appreciate your presence here with us tonight. So I hope you're well. And if you have any questions or any comments, you can put those in the chat room. You can reach me in the chat room, and I'll be more than happy to share with you. I plan to only be here up until 10 o'clock. It's so hot in this room, and I've got these amazing bright lights just bearing down on me. So it's really hot. Well, don't forget, if you have any questions, please put those in the chat room. Let us pray then, and then we get going. Father, thank you so much for who you are and all that you represent, your holiness, your wonderful grace, and your mercy, your kindness and your love is beyond anything I could ever imagine. The fact that you are self-sufficient in your entirety, and that you are eternal from beginning to end. You have no beginning and you have no end. And I'm just so honored to be here with you tonight. So thank you so much for this space that you have created for us to use. And I just pray that we'll use it for your glory, honor, and praise. In Jesus' name, amen. Well, again, wonderful evening. Thank you so much for joining with us tonight. Just so glad to have you. Well, as I said before, I've got all the chat rooms here all figured. So if you have any questions or any comment for me, please go ahead and put those in the chat room. As I mentioned before, I plan to only be here up until 10 o'clock tonight. It's just too hot. So I'm not so sure how I cope sometimes, but it's just one of those things. Just so glad that you could be with me. So I want to say welcome, Sister Leomara, and everyone else who is here. If you don't type, if you don't say something, generally speaking, I don't get a chance to know who you are. Anne-Marie Blair is in the house. Good evening to you as well, sis. And thank you so much for joining us. Really pleasant to have you. And everyone else who's here from all the different chat rooms, thank you very much. Don't forget, if you want to challenge me, if you think I'm talking foolishness, but you don't want anyone to know who you are, then you can just use my text. And there it is over there, 07956872141. And you can text me and on WhatsApp or my text, and I'll pick it up right here on my right hand side, and I'll respond to you as best as I can. Right, what is my subject tonight? If you don't have any questions for me, don't forget your questions are priority to me, and I will stop just to answer your questions and so on. So, what is my amazing topic on a Tuesday? Well, I have Tuesday actually. I've been looking at leadership and just sharing a few things I picked up on the way, a few thoughts, a few ideas, a few principles, and so on. Maybe just one of those principles might help somebody. And I've done some study on leadership. I wouldn't say I know everything. There are other trainers that are far better than me. But I have 45 years experience in this field. 45, only 45. That's not really a lot, is it really, when you think about it? I'm 66 years of age, but really 45 years of leadership at the very top. And I do have a few things that I've learned along the way. I wouldn't say that I've learned everything about leadership, but I do know something. I wrote my very first book was around leadership. I called it Pursuing Excellence. It really was around leadership. So I did cover some leadership tips in it. And so I've had some experience that I'll share with you. Now, I'm not going to go through everything tonight, obviously, because it's just such a beautiful area. And what I intend to do, maybe just to give you one thought, one tip, one idea for tonight that could possibly help you. Possibly. And let me say this as well. Nothing that I talk about in leadership is new. Nothing is new. It's in a book somewhere. It's in a video somewhere. It's in a tape somewhere. I don't have any new information on leadership. I really don't. I've been at it for 45 years and I have nothing new. I think the scripture says there's nothing new under the sun, right? So most of us probably already know, what I will share. Most people already know it. So it's nothing new. It's nothing that is so high and lofty and mighty that it can't be grasped. It's in a book somewhere. It's in a tape. It's in a course somewhere. Now I've looked at hundreds, if not thousands, of different courses online about leadership, and everything that I share, everybody else is talking about. So there's nothing new. Absolutely nothing new. I haven't heard anything new in leadership in the last 10 years. And I kid you not. In the last 10 years, I've heard nothing new. Doesn't mean I know everything. Just I haven't heard anything new. Nothing. Nothing new. Now, I often ask this question, actually, and it might be a good place to start tonight. I actually ask this question: who was the greatest leaders of all time? Let's say you were to use the top 3. Who would they be? Your top 3. Now, most people, and I agree with them, because I've been asking this question for around maybe better part of 35 years. I've been asking this question in companies: who is the greatest leaders of all time? I'm going to give you the top 3 that mostly come up. The top 3. And they come up all the time. These names I'm going to share with you. The top 3. They may fluctuate a little bit, and then they don't necessarily have to be biblical. Actually, they could be people who are not necessarily in the Bible, but some people may refer to them as great leaders. And it might be interesting, how do you define great leaders? Or and so on. And maybe the word great is not the right word to use, but the top 3 leaders of all time, the top 3, who were they? All right, let's give you what they've said to me. And this is the list. And even companies, when I ask this question, they will tell me that the number 1 leader of all time, and you would not believe it, actually, is even in companies, people tell me the top leader of all time was Jesus. I find that really remarkable. Jesus. Even in companies, people who don't know Jesus Christ will say to me, Jesus. And I would often ask them, why? Why is Jesus the greatest leader of all time? Not just because he's in the Bible, or we say that he's God, or he's a prophet, or whatever. Why is he? And oftentimes people will say, well, he trained 12 men that changed the whole world or changed the world greatly. And it's interesting because Jesus had a movement of 12. He had other disciples, but 12 was his core. He spent 3.5 years with them, and he trained, he developed them, he discipled them. And most people today would have said Jesus was a failure because his following, or his church movement of 12, did not really grow that much. And if that's how we measure success, then we probably missed the mark a little bit. Now, the next name that people tell me is the second greatest leader, or they don't say greatest, they say he's one of the second most influential leaders of all time. Now, when you ask Dr. John Maxwell, the number 1 leadership guru in the world today, he said to John Maxwell, what is leadership? And he said, leadership is influence. And the next name I'm going to write on the board, I was actually doing this course in leadership in Peterborough, among a really top cooperative organization. And when they were doing the group work, they called me in and asked me if I could put a certain name on the sheet. I was shocked. I mean, why are you asking me permission to put this name? And here's a name they wanted permission to put on as one of the most influential leaders of all time. This is the name. Satan. I mean, I was absolutely blown away. I'd never heard this name before, in terms of in the top 7. I'd never heard it. So this was, and this is not church people, by the way. This is the managers in this organization. These are top managers in the organization. I don't know why they're asking me whether they perceive that I'm a Christian, or I didn't tell them I'm a Christian, but they just wanted, can I have permission to put this name? So I says, so long as you can justify it, that's fine. Put whatever name you want. So we came back together, and during the debrief, I asked them, why is Satan on the list? They said, anyone that can influence 1/3 of the angels in heaven to turn against God is got to have influence. I thought, my goodness, I never thought of it that way. Because Dr. John Maxwell says, leadership is influence, nothing less, nothing more. If you're a leader and you don't have influence, then you're not the leader. The person with the influence is the leader. Your ability to influence. And, I partly agree with Dr. John Maxwell. I mean, who am I not to agree with Dr. John Maxwell anyway? So these are two of the most amazing leaders. Now, Satan is evil. He's wicked, but he's got influence. Influence. I'm amazed actually when I think about it. I mean, his influence is devastating. Man, to tell you the honest truth, I wouldn't have him on my list, but then how can I, not have him on the list if you like? Now, the other name on the list, and there are lots of, you know, you know, people that may say, well, my number 3 is maybe King David because he was a great king, Israel's greatest king. And he was an amazing leader. I mean, dynamic in his ability. So is Solomon, the wisest man that ever lived. I've heard names like Nelson Mandela, which, I've had on the list. Nelson Mandela. I think Nelson Mandela was amazing, actually, to tell you the truth. Some people talk about Joseph in the Old Testament and so on. But the name that comes up the most, actually, and I often hear of Alexander the Great, and it was said of Alexander the Great that he actually wept when he could find nothing else to conquer. I don't know how true that is. But the name that most people use is the name Moses. And these were 3 amazing leaders, actually. And as you know, Moses was the one that God used to lead the children of Israel out of captivity to the River Jordan. Joshua then took over from Moses and led the people into the promised land. So there is no doubt within my mind, at least, that these are 3 leaders that we have to kind of, pay attention to, if you like. And I just want to share one key thought, I think, one key principle, one key aspect that every leader has. Well, if you're a leader, that is. I'm going to share one with you tonight. When you're under these heavy lights, actually, you got to drink a lot of water. I mean, it's just absolutely amazing how warm it is in here. But anyway, I want to share with you one amazing thing. But before I do that, I think every time I do this session, I want to share this slide because I think this slide is the key to what leadership is. And then you could understand the qualities of a great leader. And it's this slide here that an inspired leader is one who, I'll just take these take these off. An inspired leader, definitely. And we're talking about inspired leader. That's my topic, if you like. But an inspired leader is one who Dr. John Maxwell says is influence people. I also like to use the word inspire and empower. Because I do believe that that's the role of a leader. In my estimation, this is what a leader uses: influence, inspiration, and empower. Why are they doing this? In order, listen to this carefully now, in order to get people to use their unlimited potential. My job is to work with people so that they produce the best they can. I hope that makes sense. That's what I believe that a leader is trying to do, is to get the best out of people. And so the way they go about doing this is by influencing them, inspiring them, and empowering them. So I want to share with you one of the characteristics that all great leaders have. no matter who they are. If you're a leader in your home and you are an inspired leader, if you don't have this one, then you're really not doing a good job. Period. Period. Okay, let's head on over then to that particular point. And it's an interesting point actually, because I think that this point is so dynamic. Right. And this is the point here is I call it looking ahead, or, having a vision. A leader who doesn't have a vision of what it is that they're out to do is not a good leader. Not a good leader at all. Jesus had a vision. Satan had a vision. And so did Moses. Had a purpose, a goal, an objective, a target in which they aim for. And I want to show you a Bible verse which really cements this. 2 Bible verses, in fact, that really makes this point very, very clear. A leader, as men, we are supposed to be the head of the home, right? We're supposed to be leader. But if we don't have a vision, then we're not really leading properly. I mean, just living, from paycheck to paycheck, or just existing for the sake of existing, but have no vision, have no purpose, absolutely a waste of time. And I'll show you that biblically, actually, because there is a scripture that we are very familiar with, and it is Proverbs 29:18. Where there is no vision, the people struggle. The people throw off restraint. The people perish, in other words. But he or she that keeps the law, happy is he. So a leader without a vision, a leader without a purpose, a leader without a goal, will struggle, will suffer, will perish, the scripture says. So let's look at this verse. Let's go to the scriptures for a moment. And let's look at this a little closely, if you like. Proverbs 29:18. Now, what I want you to bear in mind here is this, that I didn't write this verse. Wish I did, but I didn't. And I want to read this in the Good News Bible. Let's see what it says, verse 18. A nation without God's guidance is a nation without order. Happy are those who keep God's law. That's the way it puts it. Again, Good News Bible. I'm going to look at the Bible in basic English. And it says, where there is no vision, the people are uncontrolled. But he who keeps the law will be happy. Okay. Let's go to modern King James, verse 18. It says, where there is no vision, the people perish, but he who keeps the law, he is blessed. So I'll stay with my King James for a moment. So where there is no vision, Proverbs 29, the people perish. Now that word perish here, you can see the people, the word perish. You could see the Webster. Look at what Webster says. Webster dictionary, that is. Perish, here it is. Supposed to be compounded of peer and air, to go, literally to depart, to die. Look at that. It's interesting. To die, to lose life in any manner applied to animals. Men perish by disease or decay. To die, to wither, to decay. I mean, this is really amazing. To waste away. to be in a state of decay or passing away, to perish. This is amazing. To be wasted or rendered useless. And these are strong terms, the word perish. This is the word that we're looking at here. This is really amazing. To be lost eternally, to be sentenced to endless misery. I mean, this is devastating. Where there is no vision, where there is no revelation, where there is no purpose, the people perish. Now, let's just mark this for a moment, because I think that I want to show you something. I want you to notice as well the fact that this is a colon at the end. There's a reason why there's a colon there. And it says, where there is no vision, there is absolutely no vision at all. Right, let's use it another way and see if we could make sense of this another way. I want you to assume for a moment that you're blind. You can't see. So you have no vision. I want you to think for a moment, if you can't see, what are some of the things you just can't do? You certainly won't be able to fly an aircraft or drive a car. I've never seen a blind man do these things. A blind person needs to be taken by the hand and guided. When you close your eyes, if you just close your eyes for 5 seconds, your whole body now is in darkness. It's all dark. You open your eyes, there's light. You close it again, your whole body's in darkness. You open it now, you're in light. Isn't it amazing? Where there's no vision, where there's no sight, where there's no revelation from God, where there is no purpose, no hope, the people becomes uncontrolled. The people perish. They waste away. A leader without a vision? Are you kidding me? I mean, this is one of the very first things that a leader must have. So the question is, you're a leader. What's your vision? You say you're the leader, you're the head of the home. What's your vision? It's amazing actually, because the reality is most people who call themselves leader don't have no vision. They don't know where they're going. Let's say, for example, you met someone on the street and they approach you and they came to you and they says to you, "Sir, Madame, could you give me direction, please?" And you say, "Of course." Your next question will be, where are you going? What is it that you're trying to establish? You're trying to establish their vision. You're trying to establish where they're going. And the person says to you, "Well, I don't know where I'm going." Then your response will be, "Don't worry about it. You're already there." What an amazing thing for someone to come to you and ask you for direction. And when you ask them where they're going, they says, "Well, I don't know." You see how foolish that sounds? You see how foolish that looks? And yet, when I ask people, men in particular, "What's your vision?" He says, "Well, what are you talking about, vision?" Yes, I do. Yeah, what's your vision? What is it? What is your goal? What is it you're trying to achieve? Where are you going? Where are you taking your wife and your family? They said, I never thought of it. I mean, you never thought about it. Don't you know what the scripture says? Without a vision, the people perish. Do you think the scripture is in vain? Oh no, it's not in vain whatsoever. Where there is no vision, the people perish. They waste away. You know, just because you've got children, a beautiful home, and a car, that's great, fantastic. But where are you going? What's your goal? What's your vision? What's your dream? You know, it's amazing how many people I meet that just don't think about it. They you know, they're just following the Jones. Well, the Jones got married, so I get married. You know, they got 2 children, so I got 2 children. You know, they go on holiday once a year. I go on holiday once a year. You know, they bought a car, so I buy a car. They bought a house, so I buy a house. So we're just following and copying each other, as it were. But where are you going? What's your dream? Where's your vision? What is it? And many people just have never thought about it. Let me give you some amazing, alarming statistics that you are not going to really forget. Now, I've been traveling the world from time to time doing training. And I've never met a company that doesn't have a vision. Never. Never came across one. Because when you look in their memorandum and article of association, when you look in their trust me, I can do an example right now with you. And I could go to the company's house and I could look for any company or the charity commissioner, and I can download the charity commissioner, download any company's, memorandum and article of association, or download their trust document, and I guarantee you, within the first 5 pages, I will find the vision of that company. Guarantee you. It is said that only 3% of the world's population has a written vision of what it is that they want to achieve. And 97% don't have one. Guess what happens? I am told that the 97% work for the 3%, and the 3% population are the people who own the wealth of the world. The 3 that have written goals and vision for what they want to achieve are the ones who employ the 97%, and they're the ones who own the wealth of the world. If you don't believe me, do your own research. But what is your vision? And I'm going to show you a scripture in a moment. But before I do that, let's finish off this verse, because it's not finished. And the second part of the verse might be quite interesting. So let me explain what the second part means. To me, that is. Now, hear what the second part says. But he that keepeth the law, happy is he. Well, I often ask people on courses, what law is the wise man talking about? What law? Donnie, welcome. Good evening to you as well. Thank you so much for joining us. Love you lots. Appreciate your presence with us and everyone who is here. Now, look at verse 18, Proverbs 29:18. He that keepeth the law, happy is he. What law? What law is it? And I think that I asked that question once, and someone says, well, God's laws, obviously. And I says, well, that's a very good point. But which one? Well, all of it. Does it say that here? But happy is he that keepeth the law. Well, I totally agree that if you keep all God's law, you're going to be happy. But there's a reason why the colon is there, because what it does say is that the statement that comes after the colon is there to explain and to amplify to amplify the statement that went before. Now, let me do this for you. I've got this remote control here in my hand. This is the remote control. And every time I let it go, the law of gravity is in operation. That's the law. The law of gravity. I want you to catch this. Don't miss what I'm about to say. The law of the gravity is that every time I let this go, it's going to fall. I've been doing this now for nearly 40 years, and it's always fallen. It gets it now. The law of the vision is if you don't have one, you'll perish. That's the law Solomon is talking about. If you don't keep the law of the vision, you will not be happy. It's a law. It's not like, just a gimmick. If you don't have a vision, you will perish. That's the law. And happy is he that keepeth the law. You keep that law, you will be happy. I guarantee you. This is an amazing revelation to me when I first heard it. The law of the vision is if you don't have one, you will perish. You will be wasted. Oh yeah, you may be rich, but still wasted because you have no purpose. You have no goal. This is a phenomenal point, I think, that as a leader in my family, what is my goal with my wife and children? What is the goal? What is the purpose? Is it just to have a wife so you can discuss and argue and make up and go on? Is that what the purpose is? Maybe, I suppose. Maybe that's what it is, I suppose. I don't know. But what is the purpose? What is your purpose? Where's your goal? Let me show you now another law relating to this that God shared with the prophet Habakkuk. So I'm going to go over to Prophet Habakkuk, chapter 2, verse 2 and 3. Now, this is not me talking. This is the Lord talking. This is what it says here. And the Lord answered me. This is the Lord speaking now, brothers and sisters. This is not me. The Lord is speaking. The Lord answered me and said that it was the Lord who said it. The Lord, Yahweh, the creator of heaven and earth. What did he say? Aha. Aha. What did he say? He said, write the vision. It needs to be written down. I never said it. God did. That's why companies obey this principle by writing down the vision that God told them to write down. And then the second thing is, make it plain. No beating around the bush about it. Make it plain. Simple language. Make it plain. Up on tables. Now, obviously now you could do it now by paper, I suppose, and electronic means and all of that stuff that we have today. Don't forget, Back in the days, they only had these tools in which to write on. Now we've got, a few thousand years later, we're a bit more advanced. To make it very plain and simple. That he may run that readeth it. Oh my goodness, you're kidding me. That there's a purpose why you're writing it down. So that he may run that readeth it. When you go into an organization to work and they give you an induction, they will give you the memorandum, an article maybe, or they may give you a chart. They said, this is the purpose of the company. This is what we're in business to do. Read it. Get excited. Run with it. Then it says here, I want you to notice, this is God speaking here, for the vision as a time scale. This is really phenomenal. The vision is yet for an appointed time. Wow. It's got a time for it. But at the end, it shall speak. Oh, this is what God says. At the end, it shall speak. God said it, not me. At the end, it shall speak. And listen to this. It will not lie. It will not lie. This is, oh my goodness, this is getting sweeter than I thought. Though it tarry, though it takes some time, it's not going to happen overnight. Though it tarry, brothers and sisters, wait for it. Because it will surely come. Now, brothers and sisters, I want to show you something here. It will not tarry. Now, I want to show you something. Many years ago, I'm going to search for it on the internet, actually. I didn't have this. I don't think I have this on my system. Let me have a look. I don't think what I'm going to look for, I don't have it on my system at all. So it's not on my system. So I'm going to go on the website. And that's a matter of fact. Why don't you come with me on the website? Let me see if I can take you on the website with me. I will see if I can do that. I don't know if I can. No, I don't think I can actually. Let me see. How do I do that? Wow, let me see now. Oh yeah, I can do it. So let me now organize myself so that you can come and join me on the internet. So I'm going to just get myself organized here. So you and I go on the internet. We'll do this together. All right, here we go. Then let's do it together, right? So here we are, and I'm going to go into a browser. I'm going to use Chrome browser. So I'm on the internet now, and I'm going to do this together. Right. So let's go on the internet. Let's get a page. Right. There's something that I learned in business, and we're relating this, brothers and sisters, we're relating it to this verse that we've been looking at, right? This verse in Habakkuk 2. And somebody, I don't know who it is, came up with an amazing system that really resonate beautifully with this particular passage, and it's called SMART goals. SMART, SMART goals. Okay, you can see that, SMART goals. So I just press enter, and there you have it, right there, straight away in front of me. I'm going to go into images so I could see some images, and here they are. There are thousands of them around the place. You can choose whichever one you want. I don't know which one you can look at that. They're all over the place. SMART goals, because this is one of the most powerful teaching on goal setting I've ever come across. I tried to improve it once, and I when I was doing my book some 20 years ago, I just couldn't improve on it. I just couldn't do it. I couldn't come up with something better than it. So let's now look at one of them. Let's take one. I'm going to pick one in a moment. But look how many there are. SMART goals. I mean, this is remarkable. Now, when you've got something that is so vast and so much, that means there's some value in it somewhere. It's called SMART goals. I mean, let's keep on scrolling and see if there's more. I mean, this is remarkable. I mean, it just seems to go on and on and on. I mean, this is remarkable. I don't even know where it's going to stop, if it will stop. Now, remember, I came across this around 30 years, I think, ago. I don't know who first came up with it, but it is absolutely remarkable. And we're going to go into it, but I just wanted to look and see. I think that's the end of it. So let me scroll back up to the top and see. Normally, I get the one at the top that I want. So let me take this one here. I think this one might be right. So you can see over here on the right. I think my mouse is playing games. What I'm going to do, actually, I'm going to do it differently. So I'm just going to doom. Where is it? Okay, so I thought I downloaded it, but somehow I didn't download it. So let me try again. So I'm going to save image. It doesn't tell me where to save it, actually. So, okay, I'm going to save it now into, yeah. So what I'm going to do, let me go back to the system, and then I'll bring that in and see if I can explain it a little, if you like. So I'm going to try my best to bring it in if I can. Right, so let's find it first of all. Don't know why the system all of a sudden is behaving so slowly. Right. Here is a system that I just was showing you. Now, it's called SMART goals. And you can see the amount of hundreds and hundreds, and there are plenty more than that, actually. And if you go on YouTube, there are videos and videos. SMART goals means that SMART. So S stands for the goals must be specific. In other words, the scripture says, make it plain on tables. Well, in our case, on paper. In other words, it must be specific. It must be no beating around the bush. It must be plainly stated. Specific, it says. Specific. It's no beating around the bush. It's not like, well, nothing, I wish to learn how to drive, for example. That's specific. I desire to get married. That's specific. Are you with me? Things like that. So you want to make sure that it's specific. It's plain. It's okay. The second one is it must be measurable. You cannot really manage what you can't measure, really, can you? Really, if you think about it, you got to be able to measure it. It's just like you've got like a ruler, and you could measure, 1 inch, 2 inch, 3 inch, and so on. So you'll be able to. It says here, track your progress and reevaluate along the way. But you need to be able to measure this thing. You can measure it. It's measurable. And sometimes what we do basically with SMART goals is that we got short-term goal, medium-term goals, and long-term goals. So you say, well, right, I want to learn my driving test. A short-term goal maybe to pass your theory. Medium-term goal maybe to take a certain amount of lesson to get to a certain stage. Long-term goal maybe to pass your test. So you can actually measure along the way quite easily. That's measurable. Right. It's attainable. This goal that you have, it's realistic. It's attainable. You can attain it. So it says here, set realistic goals that are challenging but achievable. It's pointless to say, well, I wish to learn how to drive in 6 hours. You know what I mean? I mean, that's not attainable. It's not realistic, is it? So you got to make sure that the goal, it's specific. It's really straight to the point. No beating around the bush. It's measurable. We can actually measure where we are towards it. We have a goal that is attainable. It's realistic. We can achieve it within that framework. Or is it relevant? Has it got a relevant purpose? Is it relevant or is it outdated? And finally, this is the one that most people just don't always have. It's, does he have a time scale, a deadline? Because a goal without a deadline is just a wish list. It's just a wish list. Are you following me? So it needs to have a time scale to it. You know what I mean? So now I want you to notice something now. When you look at that list and compare it with this, you see that you need to make it plain. You need to, make it plain. So that those who visualize it, sees it, are the ones who's going to run with it. The vision is yet for an appointed time. That's what it says. Verse 3, the vision is yet for an appointed time. You got to have a time scale. You have this wonderful goal, but you don't have no deadline to it. I mean, it's just incredible. Absolutely incredible. At the end, it shall speak. It shall not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry. And so this smart goal here, this really, really sums up that verse really beautifully in many ways. I mean, this is so beautiful. It's unreal. I mean, I kid you not. Now, let me just say that particular point again. Right. Let's make sure that Daphne, welcome again. I did greet you before. Thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate everyone who's here. Now, we're looking at Proverbs. We're looking at Proverbs chapter 29 and verse 18. We're looking at Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 2 and 3. And we're also looking at SMART goals. I don't know who invented it, but SMART goals, specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely. And really looking at how SMART goals really kind of tie in so beautifully with Habakkuk chapter 2 and verse 3. Because I think it ties so beautifully that I can't improve on it. I tried my utmost best when I was writing my first book, Pursuing Excellence, but I just couldn't improve on what was already, brought together. Whoever it was, I'm not sure. I'm sure I heard the name actually. If it comes back to mind, I will say, but I just can't remember. But that was back, I think it was back in the 70s, not 70s, sorry, back in the 80s or 90s when that really hit the market. And now it's just, I think every company is using it. Every company in the world use SMART goals. And so, I think it was around 1981 because I was working with a guy called Len Holmes, and I'm sure it was him that introduced it to me. And, this guy who came up with it back in the early 80s, it's been developed, coming forward. So when he talks about write the vision must be clear. It must not be vague. That's what we mean by specific. It mustn't be vague. You know, it can't be vague. It's got to be that's the bit when he says write the vision, make sure that it's clear, it's plain, it's not vague. Measurable, again, when you compared with that, where are we now? Let me go to the passage. When you look at measurable, it's where we talk about make it plain. People must understand what progress looks like. When we talk about, being able to measure this, people can actually see the progress that is being made. It's attainable, that he may run. The vision must be actionable. It must be attainable. It must be in reach, that he may run, and timely. It's one of the most important aspects of this. The vision is yet for a time. So Proverbs chapter 29, verse 18 really kind of show the danger of a leader not having a vision. A leader not having a vision. And what Habakkuk is doing really is showing the discipline that we need to have in managing that vision. One tells us why vision is necessary. The other shows how vision should be written, how it should be clarified, how we should pursue it and wait for it. I think that is important. I think one of the most important example I can use is just close your eyes, for example. That means your body now is in darkness. You're now in darkness. When you open your eyes, wow, isn't it amazing how your body now has light? That's the same thing with good leadership in the home, good leadership in the church, good leadership in companies, good leadership in the community. A vision that is not written cannot be forgotten, because how do you forget something that you don't remember? So a vision that is not written can be forgotten. If you don't write it down, it can be easily forgotten. Easily. People set New Year's resolution. They don't write it down. So what tends to happen is that along the way, they forget it. That's the reason why you write it down, so you can remember it, because if you haven't written it down, trust me, it's going to be very difficult. A vision that is not plain, if it's not plain, it can be easily misunderstood. If it's not plain, it can be easily misunderstood. So when it's plain, it's hard for people to misunderstand what it is that you're communicating. And a vision that is not acted upon can be a waste of time. A vision that we don't act upon, that is something. Someone once said a vision that doesn't have any time can really become a real frustrating experience. Really frustrating. Because there is no time, and so people just get frustrated. And I really do believe that Habakkuk 2 is one of the strongest biblical foundation for smart planning, SMART planning. And that's probably one of the reasons why it's so popular, because it's God-centric. Whoever the person is that did it back in the 80s because I started working with a guy called Len Holmes back in around 1982, 82, 83. And that's when I began to hear about SMART goals, and I've been using it ever since. 40 plus years, maybe. A leader without a vision? Wow. Whatever next. So I hope that thought with you makes absolute sense. Because the point that I am making here is that a vision is one of the most important aspects of leadership. I don't care who you look at, where you go. Leadership is the key. Vision is just, if you don't have that, then it's a non-starter. I think someone says a leader without a vision is like a headless chicken. Back in Jamaica, my grandmother would say to me, Errol, go catch a chicken and kill it. That's what Mama would say for Sunday dinner. So I would go and catch a chicken, and I would see them. They would put the body of the chicken under, inside the basin. So the basin is turned upside down, and the neck of the chicken is on a, maybe a stone, and you got the cutlass, as it were, to cut. And Mama used to say to me, Errol, when you kill the chicken, do not lift up the basin. That's the worst thing to tell me not to do. So after I, take off the head of the chicken, I would lift up the basin just to see what would happen. And the head is over there somewhere, and the body is over there somewhere, just flopping until both of them just stop. And that's exactly what happens when you have a leader who has no vision. The body, which is the team that they're leading, whether it's be their family, is just over there somewhere dying, while the leader is somewhere over there dying. Because a leader without a vision is a disaster. So in conclusion, then, I want to wrap this up. And I would say, basically, in terms of looking at what we've been looking at, Proverbs 29:18, and, comparing SMART goals to Habakkuk 2 and 3, what are three key takeaways when we look at a leader who must have a vision? That's what we're talking about, the characteristic of a leader in terms of having a clear vision of what it is that they want to achieve. What would be three key takeaways that I can leave with you? And I want to leave these 3 points with you, and then we're closing. I did say I'll be here up until 8, but I'm going to push it to 15:15 and see if I can survive in the heat and so on. Three key things that I want to really leave with you. And number one is, a leader must have a clear vision. I mean, I don't know how much simpler I can make it, really. Proverbs 29:18 teaches that without vision, people lose direction, they lose discipline, they lose purpose. A leader must know where they're going before they can lead others there. If the leader doesn't know where they're going, how can they take their family there? It's one of the reasons why a lot of women are so frustrated. They're looking to their husband to lead, and he's nowhere to be found. So a leader must have a clear vision. It's not the amount of vision that you have, it's the fact that you've got a clear one. A leader must make the vision plain. 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 And what Habakkuk teaches is that vision must be written, it must be clear, it must be easy to be understood. If people cannot understand the vision, they cannot run with it. They can't run with it. They don't understand it, they can't run with it. That's what Habakkuk is saying. They don't understand it, they can't run with it. But if your local church or people understand the vision, then they can run with it. Finally, I would say a leader must turn the vision into action. Because it has an appointed time, right? It has an appointed time. And I think that what SMART goals does, it helps leaders make the vision specific. It makes it measurable, it makes it achievable, it makes it realistic and timely. Always remember this, that an inspired leader, they don't just dream about the future. No. They don't just dream about the future. They see it clearly. Listen to this. They see it clearly, they explain it plainly, and they pursue it faithfully. So if you want to succeed in this particular field of leadership, gotta have a vision. Gotta have a vision. So just go on the internet and search for SMART goals, and you will see a whole host of different designs that you can choose from and you can read and that you can understand. But really what we're talking about here tonight, and very, very simply put, is we're talking about a leader who is able, brothers and sisters, a leader who is able to clearly see their way ahead. Clearly. In your home, in your church, in your workplace, and in your community, you must have a vision. Thank you all so very much for tuning in tonight. I may be here tomorrow. It's going to be a bit tricky. I do have this amazing thing going on. I got 2 speaking engagements at the weekend. In fact, 3 speaking engagements at the weekend, Thursday, Friday, 2 on Saturday, in fact, and 1 on Sunday. So a lot going on, a lot of preparation got to be done. But I'm so grateful to all of you for turning up tonight. Bless you, bless you, bless you so much. And I hope that this topic was of benefit to somebody. A godly leader does not just dream. They don't just dream about things. That's one way of doing it, I suppose, but that's not what inspired leaders do. They see it clearly, they explain it plainly, and they pursue it faithfully. Go do it. God bless you. Thank you so much for joining with us tonight. Really glad that you could be here. Appreciate your presence with us as always, and wish you a fantastic, wonderful, glorious weekend ahead. Hope you enjoy the weather. I think football is still going on. Wimbledon is about to start, if it's not already started. I haven't seen any of the matches yet, but so much going on in the world. Continue to pray for Venezuela, and do what you can to support those who are struggling due to the earthquake and so on. If you need any help from me, do contact me. You got my details. Don't hesitate. But wish you all the best, guys, and thank you so much. Take care of yourself and your family. Bye for now.
on hearsay or tradition. We don't build our faith on imagination. Every word tested, every line rehearsed. We go back to the truth, chapter and verse. If it's real, let it stand in the light. If it's true, it will hold up right. Chapter and verse. Read it, believe it, put it to the test. Chapter and verse. Prove all things, keep only what's best. No, not by feelings, not by the crowd, not by the voices that are shouting loud. Line on line, precept first, every truth confirmed. Chapter and verse. If it's spoken in His name, let the word back up the claim. Hey. Chapter and verse. Read it, believe it, put it to the test. Chapter and verse. Prove all things, keep only what's best. Line it up with the word. Search the scriptures, test every spirit. Truth stands written. Chapter and verse. Chapter and verse. Anchor your faith, don't guess, don't assume. Chapter and verse. If it's from God, the word proves true. Chapter and verse. Chapter and verse. Chapter and verse. We don't lean on hearsay or tradition. We don't build our faith on imagination. Every word tested, every line rehearsed. We go back to the truth, chapter and verse. If it's real, let it stand in the light. If it's true, it will hold up right. Chapter and verse. Read it, believe it, put it to the test. Chapter and verse. Prove all things, keep only what's best. Not by feelings, not by the crowd, not by the voices that are shouting loud. Line on line, precept first, every truth confirmed. Chapter and verse. Line it up with the word. Search the scriptures, test every spirit. Truth stands written. Chapter